Have you ever heard of a king who, after winning a bloody war, was so horrified by his own victory that he completely changed his life and the destiny of his empire? This isn't a fairy tale. It's the true story of one of the most remarkable rulers in history, Ashoka the Great. Imagine a conqueror so ruthless he was nicknamed Ashoka the Fierce, who then transformed into a beacon of peace, known as Ashoka the Righteous. His journey from a blood-soaked battlefield to a global ambassador of compassion is one of the most dramatic turnarounds ever recorded. But what could possibly cause such a profound change in a man who seemed destined for nothing but conquest? The story begins in the year 304 BC in Pataliputra, the bustling capital of the Mauryan Empire. A prince was born, a grandson of the legendary Chandragupta Maurya, the founder of the dynasty. This boy, named Ashoka, wasn't the crown prince. He was just one of many sons. And from an early age, he knew he had to fight for his place. He was ambitious, intelligent, and a skilled warrior. Legends say he was not particularly handsome, but his fierce eyes and commanding presence made everyone take notice. He grew up in the shadow of his older half-brother, Susima, the heir apparent. The rivalry between them was intense, and the court was a web of political intrigue. Ashoka was sent away from the capital to govern distant provinces like Ujjain and Taxi, tasks designed to test him but also to keep him away from the center of power. But these challenges only made him stronger, earning him a reputation as a capable administrator and a formidable military commander. Little did anyone know that this ambitious prince was on a path that would lead to a war of unimaginable scale, a war that would ultimately break his heart and redefine the very meaning of power. Stick around to discover the full story of Ashoka's incredible transformation. When his father, Emperor Bindusara, passed away in the year 272 BCE, the succession crisis that everyone feared finally erupted. The throne was supposed to go to Susima, but Ashoka wasn't going to stand by and let that happen. Supported by a group of influential ministers who saw his potential, Ashoka rushed back to Pataliputra and made a bold claim to the empire. What followed was a brutal civil war that lasted for 4 long years. According to Buddhist texts, Ashoka eliminated his rival brothers to secure his power, a dark chapter that earned him his fearsome reputation. Finally, in 268 BCE, he was officially coronated as the 3rd emperor of the Mauryan Empire. For the first 8 years of his reign, he continued the expansionist policies of his forefathers. He was a conqueror, driven to bring the entire Indian subcontinent under his rule. His empire stretched from modern-day Afghanistan in the west to Bangladesh in the east. There was only one major kingdom that remained defiant, standing in the way of his complete control: the coastal kingdom of Kalinga, located in present-day Orissa. In 261 BCE, Ashoka decided it was time to end Kalinga's independence. He gathered a massive army and marched to conquer it. The people of Kalinga fought back bravely, determined to protect their freedom. The result was the Kalinga War, one of the bloodiest and most horrific battles in ancient history. The battlefield was a scene of complete carnage. It is said that over 100,000 soldiers were killed in the fighting and countless civilians perished. Many more were captured and deported. After the battle, Ashoka rode through the ravaged city, surveying his victory. But what he saw was not the glory he had expected. He saw endless fields of the dead, heard the cries of widows and orphans, and witnessed the utter devastation his ambition had caused. The sight broke him. The immense suffering weighed heavily on his conscience. This was his turning point. The victorious emperor was filled with remorse and disgust for his own actions. In the aftermath of this traumatic experience, Ashoka the Fierce was no more. He decided to abandon the path of war, known as Digvijaya, or conquest by force, and embrace a new philosophy, Dhammavijaya, or conquest by righteousness and principle. It was around this time that he encountered Buddhist teachings. The principles of nonviolence, compassion, and moral duty resonated deeply with the transformed emperor. He converted to Buddhism and dedicated the rest of his life to spreading its message of peace, not just within his empire, but across the known world. This wasn't just a private change of heart. It became his state policy. He began a new kind of conquest, one fought not with swords, but with ideas. His goal was to build a society based on ethical conduct and social responsibility. To communicate his new philosophy to his people, Ashoka created one of the most unique and enduring monuments to his reign, the edicts of Ashoka. He had his principles of Dhamma carved onto pillars and large rocks, and placed them all over his vast empire, from the hills of Afghanistan to the southern tip of India. These weren't just laws. They were personal messages from the emperor to his subjects, written in local scripts like Brahmi and Kharosthi, so that everyone could read and understand them. In these edicts, he spoke of respect for elders, kindness to servants, religious tolerance, and non-violence towards all living beings. He banned needless animal sacrifices and promoted vegetarianism in the royal household. He urged his people to live in harmony, regardless of their faith or background. These stone inscriptions are our most direct window into the mind of Ashoka, a king speaking across millennia about his vision for a better world. Ashoka's reign became a period of incredible social progress. He established hospitals for both people and animals, a concept far ahead of its time. He had wells dug, rest houses built along major roads, and fruit and shade trees planted to make travel easier and more pleasant for merchants and pilgrims. He saw his subjects as his own children, and believed it was his duty as a father figure to care for their well-being, both material and spiritual. His administration was reformed to focus on justice and welfare. He appointed special officers called Dhamma Mahamatas, whose job was to travel the empire, spread the teachings of Dhamma, and ensured the fair treatment of all people, including prisoners. He even sent his own children, his son Mahinda and daughter Sangamita, as missionaries to Sri Lanka, carrying a sapling of the sacred Bodhi tree, under which the Buddha attained enlightenment. Their mission was a huge success, and it marked the beginning of the spread of Buddhism beyond India, making it a world religion. Through his tireless efforts, Ashoka transformed the Mauryan Empire. He sent diplomatic and religious missions to rulers in West Asia, Greece, and Egypt, spreading his message of peace far and wide. He convened the Third Buddhist Council in Pataliputra to codify the Buddhist scriptures and resolve doctrinal disputes, ensuring the religion's longevity. His patronage helped Buddhist art and architecture to flourish. He is credited with building thousands of stupas and viharas, dome-shaped shrines, and monasteries across India. One of his most famous constructions is the Great Stupa at Sarnath. The iconic four-line capital from one of his pillars at Sarnath was adopted as the national emblem of modern India, a lasting testament to his legacy. But like all great empires, the Mauryan Golden Age couldn't last forever. After a reign of about 36 years, Ashoka the Great passed away in the year 232 BCE. After his death, the Mauryan Empire began to decline. His successors lacked his vision and administrative skill, and within 50 years, the once mighty empire had crumbled. However, Ashoka's true legacy was not his empire, but his ideas. He was a ruler who dared to choose peace over war, compassion over conquest. He showed the world that a ruler's greatness is measured not by the size of their territory, but by the moral character of their governance. For centuries, Ashoka was largely forgotten by history, a name mentioned only in Buddhist legends. It wasn't until the 19th century, when British archaeologists and scholars deciphered the ancient Brahmi script on his rock edicts, that his incredible story was written. The world was reintroduced to a king who, more than 2,000 years ago, promoted principles of peace, tolerance, and social welfare that are still deeply relevant today. Ashoka's journey from a ruthless conqueror to a compassionate ruler remains one of history's most inspiring stories of personal transformation and enlightened leadership. His life is a powerful reminder that it's never too late to change, and that true power lies not in dominating others, but in uplifting them. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next journey into history. See you next time.